Yes, this is Dan the Beat Man from Boogie Down Bronx, Dusty Fingers. Been doing this thing since '74. When I first saw Kool Herc in the Herculoids Rock at Cedar Park, I was coming home from Roberto Clemente swimming pool, and they had their sound system out there, and I was walking by, I was like, what the fuck is going on? This is dope, you know? They're playing all the music we like, so I was just sitting there watching, and that's when I picked up DJing in 1975. Because I used to just play records, you know, on my Victrola, you know, like one, we used to have two of them set up, lower one and put another one up, and it was cool like that, you know? That's how we used to do our house parties. But then when I seen, you know, the mixers and all that, I got involved with that. The first mixer I had was a knob mixer that the Jamaicans made. Then a year later, like, I seen the ones with crossfades, and I started getting into those. My father bought it. And my mom's was like, what are you doing with this? I was like, well, I like to play my records and just like play with them and mix them up. And she was like, oh, I see what you're doing. So she would pull out some of her old records and say, yo, try this. You know, this one has a nice little break on it or whatever you're looking for. I'm like, all right. Then I started buying my own records, and she used to like what I used to buy. And she used to like, yo, put that on tape for me. I was like, I'll make you a tape, you know what I'm saying? And she had tons of tapes that I made for her from the first days back in '76 all the way up until 90 something, right around the time she passed away. She had gave me her record collection before then though. She said she don't need it, you know what I mean? I know you know what to do with it. So I still have it, so it's good. Yeah, doing a lot of the street jams back in the schoolyards. When I grew up in Fordham section in Burnside, in the I could say the mid Bronx, closer towards the North Bronx. And I used to be all up and down 183rd Street, and we used to throw jams. And I just started doing what Kool Herc and them started doing in my neighborhood. And I used to be like one of the youngest cats, because they had older cats that had their own equipment. I was like, let me get on, you know what I'm saying? And they would let me get on because they saw that I was anxious. You know what I'm saying? That one day Kool Herc let me get on his set. And they dubbed me White Flash because I used to spin the record back real quick and catch it. And that, you know, and it was right before pre-scratching. It was just like jam it in, you know what I'm saying? I just kept doing it, and I keep doing it today, you know what I'm saying? They thought it was great because it kept me out of trouble, and I made a lot of money doing it too. You know, throwing parties, and the best times were like in the late 70s, early 80s, when my mother like bought me brand new 1200s. When they first came out, no one knew what the fuck they were. My friend was in the military, and he said these new turntables just came out, they're 1200s. I'm in Okinawa, Japan, in the missile, and they selling them for 200 a piece. I was like, well, send me a pair. And I needed an amplifier at the time, so he said, yo, I'll send you those, plus the amplifier. And it was a Yamaha amplifier that I needed. So he sent those to his mother's house for free. I guess in the military, they allow a certain amount of pounds to ship for free. And I just paid her the money in cash. And he was able to do that for me. And I was the first one to have those in 1980, right before they dropped into the stores in the winter. So I just kept them at home at first. I had my old turntables, the B101s, and I used to take those outside. But I was doing a lot of house parties and getting paid a lot of money, like $600, $700 a night. I was making more money than working a regular job, 40 hours a week in one night. I was like, wow. So I used to get booked like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like every weekend, because I used to play all the good stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I always was known to be playing like eclectic styles of music, you know, dance, a lot of disco, anything that came out in that genre, you know what I'm saying? So I would play a lot of 70s disco, funk soul, break beats, of course. But when I did those kind of parties, it was mostly dance. And that's what they enjoyed, you know what I'm saying? So I used to rock the house all night, get paid, and go home and do it again the next day, you know what I'm saying? I dig for records. So I have my own company, Dusty Fingers, and I put out records all over the world that I find all over the world. And I just put out a bunch of different records that exist just to make people aware of it. So if you check my Wikipedia page, it'll give you more information. Like I've been sampled all the records I came out with. I inspired so many DJs to dig for certain records that they didn't even know exist. Dusty's Fingers is all about finding intricate hardcore samples with hardcore drum breaks underneath, and records that were made for like TV, commercials, and television, or movies. Those type of soundtracks that were used in the movies, they were called library records. And it's called stock music, so if you needed music for your movie, like a dramatic type of sound or whatever, you can go to a company and, pay for this music. I was finding these records because they started throwing them out to different record stores and stuff like that, and basically throwing them away because these people weren't using those 70s records no more. So I was grabbing them up in the 80s. I didn't know what I had. So in the 90s, I put this record label together and started putting all these records out of all these different styles of music from all over the world, like England, France, Germany, and Japan, and South America, stuff from the United States, and threw it all together on one album and see what it would do. And I did very well. I mean, there's a lot of things I've done. I mean, just to make people happy and dance. I love doing b-boy music and playing for them because I love to see them dance and get acrobatic and really try to do their best they can in a battle to outdo the other guy. And I think my music inspires them to go nuts on the floor. I've seen it done plenty of times, as many jams as I've done. And in the early days, it was just like all of us just partying like we're doing right now today, getting together with a bunch of people and just having a great time. And that's what I love about this whole thing. And all my projects that I've done, I take pride in trying to do the best I can. It's getting harder and harder to find good music these days, with so many DJs being born and so many younger DJs, which I inspire them to do so, to go out and look for records. It's just been harder and harder to find, the stuff that I'm really into. But I think at the time I was looking for all these records, I pretty much caught a lot of the records that exist out there, and there's tons more. So I'm not letting nothing stop me, whether it's, I can catch stuff digitally, which CD, the realm, or vinyl. I'm mostly into vinyl, but if I have to go, find a record and if it only exists on CD, I'm gonna buy it as well, because the music is still there. Well, I had over 1 million records because I bought out 3 record stores in my lifetime. I was only able to keep 1/3 of the records in my crib, and then I had to get a storage because there was no way I could live there with 1 million records in the house. So I took all my favorite records and stored them in the house so I had about 6 shelves that hold 25 boxes, which will be a crate and a half per box. So I had about 6 of those in my apartment. Plus there was records on the floor. It was just madness. So I had to get a storage, and I got all that stuff down in Florida. So it's a big warehouse filled with 45 albums, and I just don't even think about it. It's there. I pay it every month, and that's it. Well, I want to inspire the young kids about, or teach them that all the records that we used to play from back in the days, you can still play them today. As you well know, today was a good example of it. Everybody was going nuts on all these records that are being played, and these records are over 30 years old, and they'll never die. I think 30 years from now, people are gonna be going crazy looking for them. And I keep rooting in more and more records in that equation. So all the stuff that I put out will be classics like these are another 30 years from now. And these are records that came out around the same time, but they're just being discovered within the last 20, 30 years, 20 years actually, since I've been putting all these records out. So I'll find different versions of records, like different strokes. I have 3 different versions of that. One from actually England and one from South America. And like, people don't know about these records, but I put them out and I played them and they bug out. Different versions of like the Mardi Gras. I put that out on Dusty Fingers. And it was like a group from Sweden who made it. So it's like, it's a famous Bob James record, but someone else redone it their way, and it's funky. Has dope drums on it, so people give me my props because I do my thing and I just keep doing it.